With just days to go until the general election, we, the great British people, need to face up to the reality of the condition of our current politics. Let's call it post-politics. Our opposition parties have proved that they're unable to properly hold this government to account. And things could get even worse next week after the vote. Theresa May is hoping for an increased majority that could give her an all-access pass to Brexit and effectively wipe out the opposition. So where the parties have failed to step up, the people need to step in. We've seen that Mrs May responds to public pressure. Just look at her U-turns over national insurance and social care. So if we, the people, get actively involved in politics, we can be the alternative opposition and create real change. We have always seen politics as an option that we're offered. Something that we can delegate to a group of mainly middle-aged, middle-class men. No offence, Nick and Greg. Well, unfortunately, that hasn't happened, and our hard-won democracy is going the way of a one-party state. So we now have to start a US-style movement to really take back control.
I'm not sure I quite get what you're saying. Are you basically saying, regardless of who gets elected, and who has the democratic will of the people, you believe that actually we should take to the streets and object? No.
What I'm saying is based on our last debate, that might not happen. But if we were looking at how the polls were 2 weeks ago, let's say, and if Theresa May was going to get a majority of 100, then we definitely have to be much more involved, because that would be giving her a blank check to do whatever she wants.
What do you mean by being more involved? I mean, I remember something between 1 million and 2 million people.
You mean marching and...
But anyway, somewhere between 1 million and 2 million people took to the streets of London to protest against the Iraq war.
Yeah, but then look at what that did to Tony Blair's legacy as a result. He never recovered.
He didn't recover. He never recovered. But an awful lot of those people are still...
But, hello, he never recovered from that.
But a lot of those people are disillusioned with politics because they took to the streets and nothing changed.
Yeah. Well, I think we're living in different times now. If you look at America... What were you going to say, Nick?
Well, you're arguing against yourself. Were you here for the first debate, or was it someone who looks like June Sarpong? Because June Sarpong, who was here for the first conversation, told us that, in fact, Jeremy Corbyn won the debates and the Labour Party were going to do fantastic. And now, this June Sarpong who's just come in is suddenly saying...
We've got one party state.
I know, we've got one party.
What I'm saying, Nick,
is... No need to shout. Let's not increase the power of your argument, just increasing the level of your voice.
What I'm saying is, if she ended up with a ridiculously huge majority, then we have to get much more.
You know what I love?
And by that I mean with what's happening in America at the moment.
I love the fact you go on these marches. I love your political passion, and I love the fact you feel like you have a moral obligation to do something.
Precisely.
But they don't work. Well, I'm going to just let me finish the point. No Prime Minister who believes they're doing something for the best of this country. They think they're doing it in the best interest of the country. They're not going to be swayed by a couple of thousand people outside the doors.
I think this Prime Minister will.
I think in the short term, these things don't work. You know, all those protests against Trump around the world, against him, for Hillary, he's still where he is and she's still nowhere.
Well, and it's not... No, but if you look at what happened with Trump Care the first go-round, that was because of the resistance. You cannot deny that. And they had to go back to the table.
Marches and these kind of... They don't work in the short term. They do work in the long term. Look at the suffragette movement.
Poll tax riots.
Well,
there you go.
And the one thing I'll give you is Trump was supposed to be coming here in June, and there was a lot of resistance to that. But I think generally they don't work.
No, but the thing politicians care most about is keeping their seats. And if they see that their constituents are not happy about something, they act.
I think we just have to show...
Out of self-interest alone.
Juno, we do have to say that clearly Jeremy Corbyn has got something, because you've talked about this possibility of a one-party state. Let's look at the poll today from YouGov. Among a range of polls showing the Conservatives down to just a 3-point lead. There are the figures for you. Conservatives with 42, Labour with 39. Just to remind you, at the start of the campaign, YouGov had the Tories leading by 24 points. I need to say many other polls show a wider Conservative lead. This is just the narrowest of the major polls that we've chosen.
That is my point. And that's my point. If we end up with a situation like that, then people have to get involved. Sorry, go on, Greg.
But isn't this... I mean, Nick's right. This is the debate before the last one, really. I mean, what's now happened...
Yeah, it's not my fault you were put in a different order.
Oh, here we go. As a producer.
Yes, it's not your... But no, I mean, surely the interesting debate now is we could well end up with a hung parliament. If those figures are right, we do end up with a hung parliament. Now, I still don't believe it's going to happen.
No, she will win.
And I still think she'll win. But You know, who could have possibly seen a swing of this size?
It's one poll.
No, it's more than one poll.
But
all the polls are showing a swing back to the Labour Party.
Not like that. Some commentator said today, you know, in terms of predicting elections, you might as well toss a coin if it's YouGov that's telling you what the result's going to be. No one believes
Carol,
it.
don't you think that if she does end up with a sizable majority, then who's going to hold her to account?
So what have I got to do? Have I got to march with a placard?
You have to. Well, I've actually got a 10-point plan for you.
Oh, that's so great. Can I pick a number?
Yeah, pick a number.
I'll go 3.
3. OK, well, 3 is going to your constituency meetings at least once a month.
Oh.
And what's that going to change?
Worse.
What do you think that's going to change and how quickly?
That's telling you to have
so they
have
write
your
it down,
say.
They write it down on a piece of paper.
Number 1 is what Michael Moore suggests in the US, which is a daily call to your MP or an email.
They're going to love you for that.
It works. Do you want number 4?
I'd love number 10. All these lists always slow down. It's like 10 things you need to know. Give me number 10.
Let me give you 4, then I'll give you 10. OK, so 4 is your own rapid response team.
What the hell? Have you been drinking? Have you been out with Tiger Woods again?
Can I just give you 10 first, Rachel?
That's it.
10 is a bit of comedy. There you go. See, let's do some right to it.
It always falls apart.
I think it's adorable, but we do live in a parliamentary democracy, don't we?
Yes,
and I think the other thing...
But we've never had a situation like this.
This is an increasingly big if, June.
Labour's win in 1979, 179-seat majority.
June.
Yeah, but
that was your side, wasn't it? So that was all right. That's the difference.
I like 97 as well.
No, it was my turn.
Sorry,
June. If she does get this overwhelming majority, it's a one-party state. The only person who's got her hands on the levers of power is Theresa May. Then I think in a way you're right.
I know.
But
and you're doing what you're doing with the Lib Dems is exactly what I'm talking about. People
everybody's got to make their own personal process. But I think we've got to recognise that the only way anyone can do anything is if the people actually have any power. At the moment, it doesn't look as if Theresa May is going to let Parliament have any power at all. So the people have got to kind of come in the middle.
Be us.
But however, I think that what's going to happen is this. Theresa May is probably going to win, going to push through Brexit. Not until we see that the real austerity hitting the NHS, for example, or the economy tanking, will we see people power actually happening on the street.
People getting
Give
involved.
it 2 years, June, and I think you may be in with
I'm with
onto
you.
something.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what,
and I'm glad you've already started the charge.
If Corbyn gets in, I might actually take to the streets.